Hey y'all, I'm Chris Chennault with your home team, Colorado, and I'm here with my fantastic lender. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, I am Tyler Deines. I'm a local mortgage broker. I am local to born and raised in Colorado. I'm up here currently in northern Colorado is where I live, but got the whole state under my belt, and we're here to just talk about real estate and mortgages.
Yeah, all the fun. So kick us off. We're about a little over 2 weeks into the year. What have you seen with rates, and
Mhm.
what are we seeing right now?
Yeah, rates have gone down this year, which has been faster than I anticipated. So I'm gonna share my screen here so I can show this to you, Chris. This should just share this one window.
Yep.
Yes. Okay, cool. So this is a weekly rate report that I send out to my real estate partners just to give people an idea. All of these are purchase scenarios, and below here you can see all the LTVs and credit scores that go into it. But conventional rates hanging out right around 5.875, which that's the biggest shock to me on a conventional 30-year fixed. Govies, VA, and FHA, mid fives, that's pretty normal. And Jumbo's just a hair over conventional 30-year fixed right now. And you can see these are either no points or just very small points. So a lot of that, and now I'm going to stop sharing my screen. A lot of that's in response to just market news. So like two big things that happened in the last week. President Trump declared that he wants Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to buy $200 billion worth of mortgage bonds, which that is what they did back in COVID times, which led to the low rates. But that's just President Trump saying that. Like nothing's actually happened, and we don't know if that is actually going to happen. But just him saying that brought optimism. Also, Chris, you might have to help me.
Yeah.
He just said yesterday, so you'll obviously see a lot of what the president says affects mortgage rates, but he just said yesterday there no longer protesters being killed in, was it Iran?
Yes.
Yes, so that was actually good for mortgage rates because mortgage rates also kind of looks at oil. So if oil
Mhm.
goes down, mortgage rates would go down. So currently we're at some of the, best pricing in a year. Maybe last fall we touched this, but we've been here for about a week and a half now, which is great. So
Yeah, no, that's huge, and I know like that I've seen a lot of buyer sentiment with my buyers coming out and start the year as well. So it seems like pretty people are pretty happy seeing something in the
mhm.
fives again.
Yeah,
Um,
that five handle. I think we'll go gangbusters if we see 5.5. Like, and we're not that far away. Yesterday I just locked someone in who he bought the rate down to 5.5 using seller credit. So he still has negotiating power for seller credit and use that to buy the rate down to 5.5. So definitely interesting.
And that's another good point. Like the sellers are still the ones that are right there now. They've still been sitting all winter, so they're still willing to use that credit to get off.
Yeah.
I was out showing houses yesterday. We showed three homes. Two of them went under contract that day.
No,
Yeah,
dude,
what
no.
I know it wasn't great for my buyer, but it was good to see the market is moving. One was over
Yeah.
asking, another one was at list price, but with a 10,000 credit. So it's just interesting depending on
Yeah.
where you're at, but it's the market is definitely moving faster now than it has in a while.
Yeah,
Um,
well, and my negative reaction is PTSD from bidding wars and appraisal gaps back in 21 and 2020. So that's what that reaction was. I don't love that for buyers, but I do love an increased inventory and I love things moving.
Yes, hopefully we don't ever get back to the COVID days. I mean, giving
Yeah.
up your appraisal, your inspection, your
Mm-mm.
firstborn, none of that is actually good for the market.
Yeah.
So but I definitely, it just feels healthier right now than everybody cooped up.
Yeah.
I
Chris,
know,
I got a question for
yeah,
you.
what's up?
What is like in your team and your like profession, what is like would you say like, hey, here's when the run on houses typically starts in the spring? Like what's typical? And do you think it'll follow that typical timeline this year?
Yeah, typically we say it's whenever the Broncos lose around here is when it starts going up. So hopefully not this weekend.
Yeah.
But that's typically when that happens. So like late January, early February, right when football season is kind of over,
Hmm.
that's when we're seeing a lot of like that uptick, that spring come in. So hopefully
So
we
if the
get
Broncos make
delayed.
the Super Bowl, it might literally be like right at like there might be so much just pent up. demand that after the Super Bowl, we'll just see it go crazy and none of us will sleep for 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I would
Yeah.
probably run the high off of winning the Super Bowl. That'd be fine with me.
Yeah, everybody's gonna
Um,
want to move to Denver and be
yeah,
like, all right, yeah.
yes, and I know you cover all of Colorado, so it is interesting. The mountain properties do see a higher uptick when the Broncos are on national television, especially when
Hmm.
it snows,
Oh, because the
because
CBS, they do that shot over the mountains.
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see what happens in that area as well.
Yeah. Especially given the lack of snow this year. So,
Yes. But okay, so we talked about some good news, some good feelings about the mortgage rates. I'm also curious about the indictment of the Fed chair and just what how does that affect where rates are going?
yeah, it's super interesting. Not getting political. I mean, if you look at like what Fed Chair Powell, I believe he's a good person. I do kind of want to believe he's doing his best, but also if you look at what he said, they haven't really aligned with the data that he's been getting over the last year. So there's some point where like, okay, was that nefarious? Was it fraudulent? Was it just pure human error?
Hmm.
So that's one interesting. I think in general, the bond market, which sets mortgage rates, doesn't love uncertainty. So that uncertainty kind of pulled back a little bit of the bond rally. But the other thing that's interesting is Jerome Powell's term is up in May. So
Yep.
there's also this other thing of like, why are we, like, what's with the drama? Like, he's out of here in 4 months anyways. His power over fiscal policy not really super relevant. But what it does bring into question is the Fed's independence, and that is a big deal for the bond market. The bond market wants an independent Fed because if we
Hmm.
get a new Fed chair that comes in that you get a rate cut, you get a rate cut, everybody gets a rate cut. That's actually inflationary. And I think what we would see is the bond market would buck that. And even if the Fed's cutting rates, the 30-year mortgage bond and the 10-year note would actually worsen because of the inflation concerns that come with that.
And you led me right into speaking of inflation concerns. We're at what 2.71 or so
Yeah.
right now. So, well, how do you feel about that? How does the bond market feel about that? And what does that mean for rates?
Yeah, I mean, a two handle on inflation is really good. The Fed's like overall goal is sustainably towards 2%. Of that 2.7, it was like 0.4% was just housing. So,
Yeah.
if we can get housing inflation down, I mean, we could see that go mid to low twos pretty quickly. So, I think the bond market likes that. Those reports came out this week, and there wasn't actually like a big rally. It was kind of like a kind of check the box cool type thing. So, ultimately good for rates. The lower the inflation, the better. The Fed's got to be careful not to overshoot this inflation goal either and say like all of a sudden we could become disinflationary or stagflation. Like we don't want that. So that's the balancing act that they're doing. But I also saw there was like a strong GDP report, like
Yep.
a healthy economy. So it like honestly the data, I don't know, dude. The data doesn't really support rate cuts right now, and the initial expectation is that there's only going to be maybe one in 26, and then there's been chatter from the Fed officials that they want more, different Fed officials. So it'll be interesting.
It will be, and especially um, if rates go down and demand goes way up,
Hmm.
then again we run into the run on prices. Like that's what happened during
Yeah,
the COVID days. Is
yeah. And
rates
that's
went
like you said,
went
that's
sky.
not good for that's not good for home buyers. Like we don't want that. The house inflation. A lot of times people would be like, "Oh man, that payment, like first-time home buyers, that payment is so high," is what they'll say. And I'll show them like, "Hey, it's both rate, but it's also house price. Like you have to realize, the average house price has gone up so much in Colorado over the last 5 years that affects your payment."
Yes, and so and right now, I mean, I feel like we're in a good spot. I would love to see them just kind of hover, maybe go a little bit lower, but nothing too crazy because what we're seeing is
Hmm.
the people that a lot of times I hear, well, my friend has under a 3% or I'm on a listing presentation. Well,
Hmm.
we have this great rate. Well, the people that actually have a sub 3% mortgage is under 20% of homes now. It's about 21,
Right.
right around 20.
Yeah.
People that over have the 6% is also another 20% of homeowners. So we really
Mhm.
have that
Yeah.
60% in that middle, which is hovering not too far off of where we're at. So I think that helps us, kind of shake off some of that rate lock and then be able to
Hmm.
people be able to move for life circumstances. Because just because
Right.
you're at a 275 doesn't mean life didn't happen for the past
Doesn't
six
mean you
months.
don't have enough bedrooms in your house. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So, I'm curious. Well, so my personal like hopes, like everybody's like, how low do you think rates are going to get this year? I think if we could hit 5.5, I think that would be amazing. Like much more than that, I think you're getting greedy. Like you're getting
Mhm.
way too greedy to get over five under 5.5. But also if we hit 5.5, I think that'll just open up so much opportunity for refinances and also purchases. Chris, I'm curious, what do you like? What would the housing market do for those people that are rate trapped
Mhm.
if they saw maybe a 5.5? Like how would that affect inventory
Oh, it actually brings them back. Like right now, we're seeing since the rates have dropped, that all the inventories that's out there, a lot of it's getting snagged up quick
already?
because
Jeez.
yeah, you're already seeing that
Yeah.
that demand just eat at that inventory
Mhm.
that's there. But with that 5.5, it would actually start becoming more balanced because we'd get that inventory back, and then that
Mhm.
demand would be there to where we'd have a whatever a balanced market feels like nowadays, but it would
Mhm.
actually be like I said, healthy, not too one-sided one way or the other.
Yeah. And so then you'd have a lot of like move up buyers moving up from their first time house that they bought, increasing that, first time home buyer inventory for that
Yeah.
price point. Yeah.
And then you'd have a lot of the boomers that have the still the big house to be able to get out of their house
Then they could
as
actually
well.
downsize and save money. Because right
Yeah.
now, or when rates have been high, they downsize and don't save any money. So like why downsize? Yeah.
Exactly. I can't tell you how many times I've gone into somebody's house and they say, I cannot downsize in Colorado. And that
Yeah.
sucks because it's like, the feeling that you have to move out of the state to downsize is a terrible feeling.
I know, especially when
So
you like have lived in Colorado your whole life.
yeah, and so
Yeah.
to see like be able to downsize, save money, like you said, the move up the
Mhm.
first time, I just think you would see all three
Mhm.
levels be able to actually make those moves happen.
Mhm.
So and in a healthy way, like I said,
Yeah.
nothing too crazy like what we have seen in the past when rates just tank.
Yeah. And like people don't have to be so afraid of maybe being a contingent buyer because if the market's actually moving and they're like, hey, my house will get listed, we'll just do the good old fashioned, I'm gonna list my house, get an offer, buy a house because now I have enough inventory to look at that I like and all that.
Yeah, I mean, I know you've seen this just as much as I have, but how
Yeah.
many different companies or programs have come up with trying to solve
Yeah.
that remove contingency dilemma? But if we actually could go into a healthy market where everything's moving, like a contingency wouldn't be a problem then.
Right. And for
So,
the record, I mean, we've like you and I, we've done that. We've got those products. They're great,
mhm,
but it's always better to not. Like it
yeah.
saves money to not. So like if the inventory moves enough, which I really think that could happen. I mean, it's almost already happening at 5.8 on that
Yeah.
rate. Yeah.
I mean, and you got to think the past couple of years on a national transaction level, we've been very close to those 2008 numbers. We've been
Mm.
hovering around 4 million transactions annually. I mean, if we could get back to, 5, 6, like 7 even, like that would be that would make a lot of us feel like we're progressing. So,
Yeah. Well, I know you're crushing it. I mean, every realtor I know that's still in this business, I'm like so proud of them because this market's been hard. Like you said, just the transactions are down and people feel stuck
mhm.
for whatever reason. And we want to help people get unstuck. And hopefully the rates help us do that.
Yeah, but I mean that's the biggest thing we wanted to get on this call right now is to help people kind of see a clear picture, and then if they need to get unstuck, and like the thing I think that we do different is we look at each person's situation individually. It's
Yeah.
not a blanket that this is your thing.
Right.
So I think like if anyone has that situation where they're like, I need this or I need some help figuring
Yeah.
this out, like
Yeah. Yeah.
our brainstorms are always
Dude,
always
dude,
intense. So
we don't, Chris and I don't get on face to face a lot. And he had brainstorm for me and I'm over here doing this. And I'm like, he's like, wow, you really affects you. I'm like, yeah, my brain's working. I gotta, figure out these scenarios.
So I know neither of us like taking no for an answer, which again just helps our clients at the end of the
Yeah,
day. So it's always fun, and I know that's what we're both in it for. We saw both of us have saw our parents in our same shoes, and we're
yeah.
crazy enough and our grandparents too, and we
You're
sort of
you're third
crazy enough.
gen too, right? Third
Yeah,
generation?
third
Yeah,
third generation as well. So we both saw the craziness that they went through and still took on that challenge and signed up for that task. So
yeah.
um,
I
yeah.
fought it for a while. I didn't want to do mortgages, and then I was like, you gotta try it, and I've loved it. I just love the problem solving and the helping people. Like you gotta use your brain and like think. through hard situations, but also get so much, gratification out of helping people with their biggest transaction of their life, their biggest purchase. So
Same. And I feel the exact same way. I tried to run from it, and then I say that like the real estate industry sucked me in, and I'm forever
yeah,
grateful for it. Like I am forever grateful to be
yeah,
here and be able to every day is a new challenge. And I don't think that
yeah.
I could have a role that wasn't challenging in a
It keeps
bunch of
it
different
fun.
ways.
Yeah,
It makes it fun.
yeah,
So I just want to thank you for taking this time though, just to be able to help educate people and
yeah,
see
man.
where we're at, where you think we're going as well. So
Yeah, likewise. You're great, and fingers crossed. I think, like I said, for me, the 5.5 is kind of a magic number. Like, if we could get there where it's like, hey, no points, no buy down, 5.5%. I mean, that would do such good things to the whole housing industry.
yes, it would. And so hopefully we see that. I think it'll, we'll know around summer when I think, ish
Yeah,
when that happens. So
yeah.
awesome.
Cool.
Well, thank
Thanks,
you.
buddy.
All right, see ya.